Let's get into the mid-year freakout tag. If you don't know what this tag is, it's basically for booktubers to talk about the books they read in the past 6 months with categories. So let's get into it. First category is best book you've read this year, and it has to be A Thousand Boy Kisses by Tilly Cole. This book is so good. I've seen like two people talking about it. It's so underhyped, so good, heartbreaking. I almost cried, which means everyone would cry in it. But so good, so good. So it's basically about Rune and Poppy. They met when they were like 5. And they kind of fell in love when they were 15. Let's just say they couldn't be in the same environment anymore. And they promised each other to keep in touch. But about 2 weeks later, Poppy started ghosting Rune. And when I heard about this part of the book, I was just like, okay, some people ghost other people. But when you read it, it's totally different because you understand that they are true soulmates. And it is just so good. And like Rune is like, what happened? Like we are soulmates, why are you ghosting me? But yeah, you have to read it. So good, you won't regret it. And the Goodreads average stars is 4.25, which is high for Goodreads because people are really critical here. Next category is best sequel you've read in 2021. And I'd have to say The Vanishing Stair, which is a sequel to Truly Devious, and it's part of the Truly Devious trilogy. It's a contemporary mystery trilogy. So good. If you haven't had a good experience with mysteries because you've read like Agatha Christie is good, but I prefer contemporary mysteries like this one, so definitely check it out. Next category is new release you haven't read yet but want to. Definitely One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston. I hope that's how you pronounce her name, but I don't know, sorry. She's the author of Red, White, and Royal Blue, which I haven't read, but I already ordered it, and it's almost here. And I think it involves time travel, and it is an LGBTQ plus romance, and I love those. It's the representation for me. So yeah, really excited to read One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston. Next category is most anticipated release for the second half of the year. And I don't think I have many future releases on my TBR, but I have one that is Heartbreak for Hire. Just discovered it and it caught my attention. I'm gonna read a piece of the Goodreads description for you. Brinkley works at Heartbreak for Hire, a secret service that specializes in revenge for jilted lovers, frenemies, and long-suffering coworkers, with a little cash to spare and a man who needs to be taken down a notch. It might not be as prestigious as academia, but it helps Brinkley save for her dream of opening an art gallery and lets her exorcise a few demons, all while helping to empower women. But when her boss announces she's hiring male heartbreakers for the first time, Brinkley's no longer sure she's doing the right thing, especially when her new coworker turns out to be a target she was paid to take down. This really caught my attention, really excited to read it. Next category is biggest disappointment. This may be a little controversial for some people, but I'd have to say The Song of Achilles. This was really hyped on TikTok and on YouTube. I haven't finished the book. I have 20 pages left. If you didn't read The Song of Achilles, just skip to this part of the video. So why didn't I like it? Well, I really liked the beginning, when Patroclus and Achilles were living with Chiron and in the palace. But then they went to the war thingy. And wars aren't entertaining me. Sorry, but I think it entertains many people based on the popular book talk recommendations, but it's not my thing. I don't like it. Whenever I'm reading a book like Percy Jackson, like the fight scenes are my least favorites. So when I started reading The Song of Achilles, I noticed that like 65% of the book was war related. And I also think there was so much description and so little dialogue. But I just found myself sometimes reading 3 whole pages of descriptions of what's happening instead of dialogue. And I prefer dialogue. So yeah, like, I'm liking this book, but I thought it'd be better. Next category is biggest surprise. Definitely 1,000 More Kisses, but I already said that, so I'm gonna say Love and Gelato. I just saw this book for sale like everywhere, but I never saw anyone talking about it. So I was like, okay, time to pick it up. And it was so good. It's about a girl named Lena, and she just lost her mother. And her mother's death wish, I think that's what it's called, was for her to go to Italy and meet her dad, whom has been out of the picture for her whole life. And for the first 60 pages, it's not that great. But then something happens, and the book just gets really exciting. And it's sweet if you want to read a fast paced Italy vibes romance. You need to read this. Next category is favorite new author. Many, but I think the 2 main ones are Maureen Johnson, whom wrote the Truly Devious trilogy, and Sally Thorne, who wrote The Hating Game. Next category is new fictional crush. I don't usually have fictional crushes, but definitely Ren from Love and Gelato. No commentary needed. The next category is new favorite character. Yeah, and so many, but I started reading the Percy Jackson series, and I really like Annabeth. I also love Lucy from The Hating Game. She's so spontaneous, and she's also so transparent in what she says. Like, transparent is the perfect word to describe her. Like, sometimes she says some things to Joshua, and I'm like, how did you just say that? And I just think it's so funny. Not in a, like, ridiculous way. No, like, it's not like I'm laughing because whatever she's doing is embarrassing. No, it's just, like, casually really funny, and I'm just joyfully laughing at what she's doing. I just find it really funny. Just read this book. So good, The Hating Game. Next category, book that made you cry. I haven't cried in any book, I think. At least not this year. But I almost cried in 1,000 Boy Kisses, which is also my favorite book that I mentioned earlier. So that usually means that the average person would cry 57 times while reading it. Next one, book that made you happy. I don't think there's one book in specific, but as I said, I started reading the Percy Jackson series, and the books just make me really happy. It's really chill, it's just friendly, and I really like it. So yeah, Percy Jackson and the Olympians. Next category is most beautiful book you've bought this year, and I don't buy my books, I get them from the library, so I'll skip this tag. But the next category and the last one is books you want to read until the end of the year. So many. My TBR is made of 91 books. So apart from the ones I already mentioned throughout this video, I would have to say Love and Other Words by Christina Lauren. I just heard about this. Sounds so good. Need to read it. Also by the same author, The Unhoneymooners, but I'm gonna read this very soon, like in 1 week or something. Next one is Malibu Rising and The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Also don't know if I'm saying her name right. Sorry. But they both sound really good too. I also want to read The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. This is so hyped on TikTok. This is so hyped on TikTok. This is so hyped on TikTok, and it just sounds really fun once you read it. Genuine Fraud by E. Lockhart. Aristotle and Dante discover the secrets of the universe. The Hate You Give. November 9th. The Selection Series, and I think I'm gonna make a reading vlog of this. So keep an eye out for that. And also Before the Coffee Gets Cold. This is just a few books from my 91 book TBR. Hope you liked this video, so subscribe for more self-help and book videos.